My name's Daniel Crawford. I'm 35 years old, with sandy blonde hair that's always a little messy from running my hands through it when I'm thinking, hazel eyes that shift between green and brown depending on the light, and a face that's weathered from years of outdoor construction work, square jaw, high forehead, and laugh lines around my eyes that used to mean something before everything went to hell. I'm 6'1", built solid from 2 decades of swinging hammers and hauling lumber, with calloused hands that can frame a house or hold a woman gently, depending on what the situation calls for. Until 6 months ago, I thought I understood the difference between building something and having it stolen from you. I'm 6'1", built solid from 2 decades of swinging hammers and hauling lumber, with calloused hands that can frame a house or hold a woman gently, depending on what the situation calls for. Until 6 months ago, I thought I understood the difference between building something and having it stolen from you. I'm a contractor, I said, nodding toward her drawings. Those look like real buildings. She looked up with the kind of smile that made my chest tight. They will be someday. I'm an architect, but I've never seen one of my designs actually get built. That was the moment everything started, though I wouldn't understand the significance until much later. Jennifer and I fell in love the way people do in small mountain towns, slowly, then all at once. She'd drive out to my job sites during lunch breaks, wearing sundresses and work boots, watching me frame walls and install windows with my calloused hands. She said she loved how my hazel eyes got more green when I was concentrating on a difficult cut, how I'd run my fingers through my messy sandy blonde hair when I was problem solving. I'd spend evenings at her apartment, looking over blueprints while she cooked dinner, learning about load-bearing walls and architectural theory. 3 months in, she mentioned her dream project. "I want to design a custom home," she said one night, curled up against me on her couch. "Something beautiful and unique. Not another cookie-cutter subdivision house, but something with soul." "What's stopping you?" "Finding the right client. Someone who trusts my vision and has the budget to do it right." She traced patterns on my chest with her finger. "And finding a contractor good enough to build it exactly as designed." I kissed the top of her head. "I know a guy." That's how the project began. Jennifer would design her dream house, and I'd build it. Not for a client, but for us. A home we'd create together and live in together. She'd handle the architectural plans, permits, and design elements. I'd manage construction, subcontractors, and materials. 50-50 partners in everything. The lot we found was perfect, 3 acres outside town with mountain views and old-growth pines. Cost me $180,000, which was most of my savings. But Jennifer promised to cover half once her freelance projects paid out. The house she designed was stunning. 3,200 square feet of contemporary mountain architecture with floor-to-ceiling windows, exposed wooden beams, a stone fireplace that dominated the main living area, and a wraparound deck that captured sunrise and sunset views. "It's going to be incredible," she said the night I approved the final plans. "Our forever home." Construction started that spring. I pulled permits, hired subcontractors I'd worked with for years, and began the most personal project of my career. Every morning at 6 a.m., I'd drive to our lot and start building the life Jennifer and I had planned together. Foundation work through April, framing in May, roofing and siding through the summer. Jennifer came by almost daily, checking progress and making small adjustments. Move this window 6 inches left. Extend the kitchen island by 2 feet. Add built-in bookshelves in the master bedroom. Each change made the house more uniquely ours, more perfectly suited to the life we'd build inside it. The first red flag came in July. "Danny, I need to talk to you about something," Jennifer said one evening after I'd spent the day installing hardwood floors. We were sitting on the unfinished deck, sharing a beer and watching the sunset through the framed windows. "What's up?" "I've been doing some research on construction loans and mortgages. Since the house is being built on your land and you're the contractor, legally everything's in your name." I nodded. "That's how it works." "Once we're married, it'll be community property anyway." "Right, but what if something happened to us? What if we broke up before the wedding?" The question hit me wrong, but I tried to keep my voice casual. "Why would we break up? We're building our dream house together." "I'm just thinking practically." Maybe we should draw up some kind of partnership agreement, something that protects both of us. I should have listened to the warning in my gut, but I was too deep in love and too committed to the project to step back and analyze what she was really asking. June, this house represents everything I've worked for. My savings, my skills, my reputation with every subcontractor in town. If you're worried about protection, maybe we should accelerate the wedding timeline. She smiled and kissed me, and the conversation ended there. But something had shifted. August brought more red flags, though I was too busy with electrical and plumbing rough-ins to pay attention. Jennifer started bringing a friend to the job site, Marcus Reed, a real estate developer from Portland who was supposedly interested in commissioning Jennifer for a commercial project. Marcus was everything I wasn't: polished, educated, expensive clothes, and the kind of confidence that comes from never having to worry about money. Where I had weathered hands and concrete dust under my fingernails, he had manicured nails and soft palms. Where my square jaw showed the stubble, I never quite had time to shave perfectly. His face was always smooth and pristine. Daniel builds exactly to specification, Jennifer would tell Marcus as they walked through the framed rooms. Never cuts corners, never compromises on quality. I was proud to hear her praise my work, but something about the way Marcus studied the house made me uncomfortable. He'd take photos, measure rooms, ask detailed questions about materials and construction methods. When I asked Jennifer about it later, she said he was just curious about the process. Marcus grew up in construction, she explained. His dad was a contractor before he got into development. He appreciates good craftsmanship. The house was beautiful by September. Exterior complete, windows and doors installed, interior finishing work underway. I'd custom-built kitchen cabinets from reclaimed oak, installed a stone hearth I'd mortared myself, and created built-in furniture pieces that matched Jennifer's exact specifications. Every detail reflected thousands of hours of careful work and genuine love for both the craft and the woman I was building it for. That's when Jennifer started staying in Portland more often. Marcus offered me a huge project, she explained during one of her increasingly rare visits to the site. A mixed-use development downtown. If I can nail this design, it could launch my career. That's great, babe. How long will you be gone? Just a few weeks. Maybe through October. October became November. November stretched toward December. Jennifer's visits became weekend trips, then stopped altogether. She'd text photos of her progress on the Portland project. Call a few times a week to check on the house construction, but something fundamental had changed in her voice. Distance that wasn't just geographic. I finished the house in mid-December, working alone through the final details: interior paint, fixtures, landscaping. 3 days before Christmas, I walked through every room one last time, checking that everything was perfect for Jennifer's return. The house was stunning. Our dream home, completed exactly as she designed it, ready for the life we'd planned to build inside it. That's when I called to tell her it was finished. "Danny, we need to talk," she said, instead of congratulating me. "Can you come to Portland?" The drive took 3 hours through winter mountain roads. I found Jennifer at a downtown restaurant, sitting across from Marcus Reed. Both of them looked uncomfortable, like parents about to deliver bad news to a child. "Sit down," Jennifer said. I remained standing. "What's going on?" "I've accepted Marcus's offer to join his development firm as a partner," she said without meeting my eyes. "Full partnership, my own projects, everything I've always wanted professionally?" "That's great. Portland's only 3 hours away. We can make it work?" She finally looked at me. "Danny, I'm also accepting his personal offer. We're getting married." The restaurant noise faded to nothing. I stared at Jennifer, the woman I'd built a house for, the woman who used to trace the laugh lines around my hazel eyes and call them beautiful, the woman who'd approved every beam and joint and finished detail, sitting next to another man and talking about marrying him. "When?" I managed. "We haven't set a date yet, but when did this start?" Marcus spoke for the first time. "Look, Daniel, these things happen. Jennifer and I connected over shared professional interests. It just evolved naturally." "How naturally?" I asked Jennifer directly. "How long has this been going on?" "Does it matter?" I've spent the last 8 months building you a house. Our house. Yeah, it fucking matters. Jennifer flinched at my language. I'm sorry, Danny. I never meant for this to happen. But I can't live the life we planned anymore. I need something different. What about the house? You built it on your land with your crew. It's yours, I almost laughed. I built it to your specifications. Every room, every detail, every custom feature designed for the life you said you wanted with me. I'll pay you back for my half of the expenses, Marcus offered. Whatever receipts you have. This isn't about money. Then what? Jennifer asked. I looked at her for a long moment, this woman I'd loved enough to build a dream house for, who used to say my sandy blonde hair looked perfect when it was messy from work, who was sitting next to her new fiancé and asking what I was upset about. Nothing, I said finally. Enjoy Portland. I drove home through the mountains, past the turnoff to our property, and went directly to my apartment in town. For the first time in 8 months, I didn't go check on the house. The next morning, I called my real estate agent. I need to list a property, I told her. Custom home, fully finished, needs to sell quickly. What's the rush? Change of plans. The house sold in 6 days to a family from California looking for a mountain retreat. They paid $750,000, which was $50,000 over asking price. I cleared $220,000 after paying off the construction loan and agent fees. Good money for 8 months of work, but it didn't feel like victory. Jennifer called twice during the sale process. I didn't answer. She left voicemails saying she hoped we could still be friends, that she never meant to hurt me, that she wished things could have been different. I deleted them without listening to the full messages. But I wasn't done. 3 weeks after the sale closed, I got a call from my real estate agent. Daniel, I have some interesting news about your buyers. What kind of news? They're not planning to live in the house. They're investors. Bought it to flip. Flip it? It's brand new. Apparently they think they can modernize it and resell for over $1 million. They've already hired contractors. What kind of contractors? Demolition crew starts Monday. They're gutting the interior and reconfiguring the entire floor plan. I hung up and drove to the property. The new owners had posted permits on the front door. Interior demolition, electrical rewiring, plumbing reconfiguration. They were tearing out everything I'd built. The custom kitchen cabinets I'd crafted from reclaimed oak. The stone fireplace I'd mortared by hand. The built-in bookshelves Jennifer had specifically requested for our master bedroom. All of it would be in a dumpster by the end of the week. That's when I realized I'd been thinking about this all wrong. The house wasn't my revenge on Jennifer. The house was just a house. But Jennifer's new life in Portland, her partnership with Marcus, her architectural career, her plans for professional success, that was built on something I could actually affect. I drove home and started making phone calls. First call was to the Oregon State Architecture Board. I'd like to report a potential licensing violation, I told the representative who answered. What type of violation? Fraudulent representation of project experience. An architect claiming credit for work they didn't actually complete. I explained that Jennifer Walsh was representing the Mountain House as her own design work in her portfolio, but that she'd abandoned the project before completion and hadn't supervised the final construction phases. In Oregon, architects are legally required to provide construction administration services for projects they design. Jennifer had violated those requirements by disappearing to Portland during the final 4 months of construction. Do you have documentation of this? Photographs, emails, witness statements from subcontractors. The architect was absent from the job site from August through December while representing to clients that she was actively managing the project. Second call was to the Portland Business Journal. I have information about Marcus Red development that might interest you, I told the business reporter who answered. What kind of information? Misrepresentation of partnership credentials. Reed is advertising a new partner, Jennifer Walsh, as having extensive residential design experience. But her only completed project was abandoned midway through construction. I explained that Marcus was using Jennifer's association with the Mountain House to win clients for high-end residential projects, but that Jennifer had never actually completed a custom home from start to finish. Her portfolio was built on half-finished work and abandoned projects. Third call was to every residential contractor in the Portland area. This is Daniel Crawford from Bend. I wanted to give you a heads up about an architect you might encounter. Jennifer Walsh, now working with Marcus Reed Development. The conversations were professional but pointed. I explained Jennifer's pattern of abandoning projects midway through construction, her failure to provide adequate construction administration, and the problems that had emerged during the final phases of our Mountain House project. I didn't mention the personal relationship. Just professional concerns from one contractor to another. Thanks for the warning, most of them said. We appreciate contractors who look out for each other. The results were immediate. Within 2 weeks, the Architecture Board opened a formal investigation into Jennifer's licensing compliance. The Portland Business Journal ran a piece questioning Marcus Reed Development's hiring practices and due diligence procedures, and contractors throughout Portland started declining to bid on projects that involved Jennifer Walsh as the architect. Jennifer called me after the third project fell through. "Danny, what did you do? I don't know what you mean." "The Architecture Board is investigating me. Contractors won't work with me. Marcus is talking about ending our partnership." "That's unfortunate. This is about the house, isn't it? About us?" "This is about professional standards, Jennifer. You abandoned a project halfway through construction and then used it in your portfolio to win new clients. That's fraudulent representation." "You know it wasn't like that? How was it?" Silence on the line. "I built that house exactly to your specifications," I continued. "Every custom detail, every finished choice, every built-in feature you designed. You walked away before it was complete and then claimed credit for work you didn't finish. That's not how architecture works. I made a mistake with us, Danny, but that doesn't mean you should destroy my career. I didn't destroy anything. I just made sure people knew the truth about your work history." She hung up. Marcus called me the next day. "We need to talk," he said. "About what?" "You know what? This campaign you're running against Jennifer?" "I'm not running any campaign. I'm sharing professional information with other contractors and industry organizations." "Look, Daniel, I get it. You're hurt. But Jennifer's career doesn't deserve to suffer because of what happened between you two personally. Her career is suffering because of choices she made professionally. She abandoned a project and misrepresented her experience. That has consequences." "What do you want?" The question hung in the air. What did I want? Jennifer back? The house back? The 8 months of my life back? "I want architects to finish the projects they start," I said finally. "I want contractors to know who they're working with. I want professional standards to mean something." "That's it?" "That's it." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "The investigation will end if Jennifer withdraws her application for Oregon licensing and stops practicing architecture. That's between her and the Architecture Board. She'd have to find a different career. People change careers all the time." I hung up and drove to the mountain property one last time. The demolition was complete. Everything I'd built had been stripped out, leaving just the framing and foundation. Soon it would be something entirely different, modernized, reconfigured, unrecognizable from the house Jennifer had designed and I had built. But that was fine. The house was never really the point. 6 months later, I got an update from my contractor friend in Portland. Jennifer had withdrawn her architecture license and taken a job with a residential interior design firm, not designing buildings, just decorating rooms. Marcus Reed Development had quietly dissolved the partnership and returned to working with established architects. The Mountain House had sold again, this time for $980,000 to a tech executive from Seattle. The new owners kept the renovations but added back some custom elements, handcrafted kitchen cabinets, a stone accent wall, built-in furniture pieces, different from what I'd originally built, but beautiful in their own way. I was working on a new custom home project by then, building for a young couple who reminded me of Jennifer and me from 2 years earlier. Full of dreams and trust, believing that building something together meant sharing it forever. Maybe they're right. Maybe this time will be different. But I keep the contracts detailed and the receipts organized, just in case. Some lessons you only need to learn once.